Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Rome series. This is episode 8 of season 1 and it is called Caesarion. Last episode, first we saw that the fleet that Caesar had asked for had basically all been destroyed, but Lucius and Titus Pullo were still alive and had washed up on a beach. At first I thought it was going to be like a desert island storyline, but Lucius quickly realised that the bodies were filled with gas and thus floating, and made basically a barge out of human bodies, and they went out to sea. Meanwhile, back in the capital, Atia has sent her daughter round to Sevilia's to sort of appease her and also ask for security, because she wasn't being provided security she thought was adequate. So Sevilia agrees to provide her security, etc. But she seems to have this underlying game plan now of seducing Atia's daughter. I don't know whether that was because she had a genuine interest in her, or if this is all just part of her grand scheme, but I do have a feeling that this is all part of her plan to get back at these people. And it even showed the daughter masturbating, so she was clearly having thoughts about Sevilia while she was away from her, and then when she did go back to see her later on in the episode, they did get together and sleep together. So Sevilia got her way. Whether it was just because she genuinely liked her or it was part of her plan, things are going well for her just now. Magnus basically gets talked into facing Caesar head on by the council around him, you know, Brutus and that old guy from the Senate who was wearing the black toga. Those people, they all said that he had to show force and attack Caesar, and I kind of agree with it, to be honest. If he outnumbered him and Caesar's resources and shit were depleting, he would just look like a bit of a bitch if he didn't go in for the kill. So yeah, Magnus goes for it, but miraculously, Caesar's forces prevail, and it's so interesting how it was explained afterwards. Like I said, it would have been incredible to actually see this, because you very rarely see a battle fail like the way they described, which was that Magnus's left flank sent a fleet of 200 horses to attack, but they were repelled and they ran away. But when they ran away, I guess the horses went out of control, or the riders weren't giving a fuck, and they charged back along the same left flank they ran up, ploughing into Magnus's own defence, creating a structural flaw on the left side of his defence, causing Caesar's legion to come in and finish the job. That is an incredible, easily understandable, even to a viewer, way a battle could go down and go horribly wrong for the side that was outnumbering the other. And I would have loved to have seen that, and it's just a shame that this show didn't have the budget to display it. But of course, all the primary people survive, you know, Magnus is fine, Brutus is fine, all these people are okay. Magnus is now with his wife and children and is planning on fleeing to Egypt. So he's found this group of people who are going to provide him safe passage to Egypt. They don't seem the most trustworthy, and they take him to this little island, and wouldn't you know it, Titus and Lucius had washed up on this island. So it begins as they don't know who's who, and they're just helping these two people they've found that have washed up. They're giving them water and food, and then Titus brings up that that guy over there looks like Magnus, and Lucius goes, it is, you know. So instantly they now understand what they have to do. Magnus is still none the wiser, they're soldiers for Caesar, but they now know exactly who the fuck he is. So instantly Titus is getting visions of them being showered in riches and gold and shit like that, and they're concocting their little plan. But then this guy who's providing Magnus safe passage walks up, understands what the scenario is, and he's like, look, we know who this guy is as well. I don't think me and my guys can take him ourselves, but if you guys help me, then we'll split the goods afterwards. And Lucius and Titus are obviously like, no, we're bringing this guy to Caesar, fuck you. And Lucius just stabs the guy straight through the throat. That's the second time they've done that in this show in a one-on-one confrontation, because that's how Titus handled that shit at the bar as well, straight through the neck. That straight thrust with the gladius seems like the go-to move of these guys so far. And yeah, at that point, Magnus is like, what the fuck, why are you killing this guy? And the jig is up, and Lucius and Titus say, we're taking you with us. Somehow, Magnus asks to get Lucius by himself for a conversation, appeals to his parental side, and Lucius actually lets Magnus go. Now, I love Lucius and Titus's characters, but I'm with Titus on this one. I don't know how someone like Lucius would have ever have made that decision, to be honest. It's almost unrealistic, because I could never imagine a soldier in Caesar's legion, especially a high-ranking one, doing something like that. But hey, I guess Lucius was feeling super kind that day, so yeah, Magnus was let go along with his wife and kids. Lucius and Titus go back to Caesar and Mark Antony and explain to them honestly what's happened, and miraculously, Caesar decides to let them live. At first, Mark Antony's like, why would you do that? They have to be killed for what they've done. They've just let our number one enemy go free. But Caesar brings up the interesting fact that these guys seem to be stumbling into all sorts of interesting situations one after another. Caesar's not stupid. He's like, something weird is going on here. I don't know if like the gods have got plans for these guys or what, but I ain't killing them. Who knows what they will find next? And I can completely understand Caesar's logic, and I think even Mark Antony understood, yeah, actually, these guys really do find themselves in all the big plot points, don't they? And as an absolute shocking bookend to the episode, Magnus arrives on the shores of Egypt and is instantly beheaded by a double agent soldier. When thinking about who perpetrated that, obviously you would instantly think, oh, Caesar and Mark Antony, you know, called ahead to Egypt, but I've got a feeling it was something else. Like, Cicero, or the old guy on the Senate who was siding with Magnus. Maybe they've done this as a way to appease Caesar now they have surrendered, because some of those guys surrendered last episode. Maybe it was just Rome sending word to Egypt, but of course there is only one way to find out, and without further ado, this is episode 8 of season 1 of Rome, Caesarian, which by the way is a badass name. I love all these old Roman words like centurion, Caesarian, stratagem, legionnaire, they're all badass. The only thing about Caesarian is it's incredibly, almost frighteningly close to the word Caesarian. Regardless, episode 8, Caesarian, let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. We saw that skull for the first time last episode. Caesar was praying in front of it. Is it some sort of god of death, or is it a symbol of some god I'm not aware of? Let me know in the comments. Or did they just think it looked cool and like Caesar's weird for it? Everyone else is like, do you see he's got that weird skull thing he prays to in his room? Really strange. I mean, granted he's a decent general, but what's with the skull shrine? Don't know. Dude's a freak. Pass me some bull blood. Where do we go from here? I'm actually so interested to see where the show takes it now that Magnus is dead. Yeah, take your war colours off. Your team lost, mate. Your side lost. Your team's shit. Brutus is so lucky if Servilia even embraces him in this moment. He basically left her in this city to fend for herself, even though he thought she was on the losing side. Yeah, if I was Servilia, I would have changed the fucking locks. She still can't even look him in the face though. She's like, you know, you're my son. I'll always love you. It's cool you're alive. But wow, what a treacherous little shit you are. Why did I waste all my curse energy on everyone except you? Because curse energy is a finite resource. You gotta fucking sit and channel that shit, hone it through deep hours of meditation. You can't just be throwing about curse energy willy-nilly. But she should have at least saved some for Brutus.
Must not be harmed. Gasca, Marcus Tullius Cicero.
Basically the list of Magnus allies that tucked their little tail between their legs and surrendered. It's the most professional I've ever seen Titus Pullo since the show started. Wow, they did go to Egypt. What is even the point of it now Magnus is dead? It seems like a wasted journey. I suppose it's never a wasted journey to go to Egypt. Check out the pyramids and shit, it'll be cool.
Behold, Ptolemy, son of Ra.
Is this the current king of Egypt? Little shits. Good shot by Titus as well.
Servants of the mighty lion would be ecstatic to help you in any way whatsoever.
Clearly that child king has absolutely zero power, and all these old men in this room make the decisions of Egypt.
I was told the sister of the mighty lion disputes his right to the throne.
Do not speak of her.
Oh, is this Cleopatra they're talking about? Wow, so we're getting some sibling rivalry, Egyptian throne shit in this show. This is incredible.
I assure you, you have no problem, no fears at all about Cleopatra.
Where is she?
Now, I do know that I think Caesar hooked up with Cleopatra in history, which means, I guess, Caesar is going to side with her and help her attain the throne of Egypt.
In that case, you should have no trouble in handing over Pompey Magnus.
I do not like his tone.
Well, that answers that question. It was not Caesar who had Pompey Magnus killed, because he would definitely know about it.
We have a gift for you, glorious excellency, that we think you will be very pleased with.
Is this going to be Magnus's head? Yes, it is. He doesn't even look that satisfied to see him dead. Just more, I guess, relieved it's over, but also sad someone he was once friends with has died.
You are enemies.
He was a consul of Rome!
Yeah, you can tell deep down, even though they were at war, Caesar cared about Magnus still. He cared about Brutus when he embraced him after Brutus surrendered. I'm sure he would have felt the same about Magnus.
You will give me the man that took Pompey's life.
Now, I expected Caesar to want him alive. I did not expect him to take the death of Magnus this badly. I genuinely thought he would have been relieved. That's an even more respectful reaction than I initially thought. And that also displays how much Caesar respects the system of Rome, because he was so disrespected by that act, because whatever else Magnus was, he was a consul of Rome, and that is an important position.
Return to Rome immediately. You shall have the honour of announcing Pompey's death.
Why would Caesar want to stay longer now that Magnus is dead? What does he feel he can achieve from changing the politics of Egypt?
War will disrupt the grain supply. Without Egyptian grain, Rome goes hungry.
That's an interesting reason to do it. Do you think that is the only reason Caesar wants to do it?
Those various factions are united only by their hatred of Rome.
Mark Antony makes a good point.
I have defeated Pompey Magnus. I think I can handle a small boy and a eunuch.
Oh, I don't like it when people start speaking like that. Overconfidence is the reason Pompey Magnus lost. Caesar should have learned something from that. Never underestimate your enemies.
Some would call it hubris.
It's only hubris if I fail.
Very true. If he crushes everyone, then he's keeping his word to the T.
It was my actions that brought him here to this end. If I had done my duty...
Indeed.
Don't know if Caesar respected him saying that to him or not. He seemed incredibly unimpressed with it anyway. That kid does not need a human stool.
The money that was borrowed by His Majesty's illustrious father, I have come to collect.
He is debt collecting.
The tabulation includes all monies borrowed from Pompey and other agents of the Republic.
You know what? That's fair. If it was Egypt who orchestrated Pompey Magnus's death without Caesar's knowledge, then yeah, they have to take on Magnus's debt. That's fair.
I am king.
Sit down!
Damn, Caesar put him in his place there.
I will accept 10,000 drachma.
He's like, fuck your civil war, I at least want half.
It's as hot as Vulcan's dick.
Nice, it's such a modern thing to say, but with an ancient Rome twist on it.
Egypt was a great nation long before Rome.
Was it? Mumped it up now then, haven't they?
Yeah, that's actually mad when you think about it. By the time Rome got to Egypt, it was a deteriorating nation, and Rome was at the height of its power.
I'll know when I see them.
That actually did look a lot like Niobe. That's cool, before photographs were a thing, you could still get a little picture.
He is a resourceful man.
He will find her.
They know exactly where they stand, so if they don't find a way to give Caesar all this money, I don't think it's going to end well for them. Caesar already seems like he's going to be inclined to side with Cleopatra. That was so smart of Caesar, to have Lucius and Titus stake out to make sure that no one went to find Cleopatra before he could. Is this Cleopatra in a shackle? Is this Cleopatra? It could be. Pipe and a shackle's a weird combo. I wasn't expecting that.
Night or day? Night.
Cleopatra has been smoking all the opium.
Majesty must prepare herself for her journey to the afterlife.
What sort of bullshit is that to say to her? Titus Pullo and Lucius Vorenus are gonna kill all these guys, I bet you. Of course. Who else? And if Cleopatra wasn't captured, why the fuck has she shackled herself? Nice. I still haven't seen Titus Pullo lose a fight yet. He is an efficient soldier. Also an interesting first impression to make on Cleopatra. Let's see what type of gal she is.
Hello, ladies.
Attack, Caesar.
Oh, we never got to see her reaction. That's a shame.
He only has a few hundred men with him. How many men could you rally?
They're considering attacking Caesar. They probably have a lot of soldiers here as well. They might be able to do this. Did this happen?
Perhaps you don't have enough influence among the people.
That is very, very basic reverse psychology.
I could raise the whole city with a word.
Which apparently worked like a charm. That didn't take much. What a weak-minded fool. If I was ever his enemy, I'd be like, you don't want to stab yourself. He'd be like, I could stab myself whenever I wanted. I'd be like, well, here's a knife. I know you don't want to do it. I will stab myself right now, see? Hi folks, sorry to interrupt, but just real quick, if the next card I pick up is the Ace of Spades, you will join my Patreon group, right? Ha! Join the fucking gang. Can your favourite reactor do that? No.
Him who bears his message is him that killed Pompey.
I think they're correct as well. I don't exactly remember the guy's face, but I think this is the guy. Interesting message to send, but I love the respect which Caesar has shown Magnus, and the way that anybody who is a member of the Roman upper echelon should be perceived by other nations or treated by them. Is this historically accurate? Was Cleopatra a fucking crackhead?
She will look like a reptile when she arrives in Alexandria.
This is an interesting portrayal of the character thus far. What an absolute crazy woman.
Throw it out.
Oh, is this her giving it up? No way, I hope she gives it up straight away. That's a cool, interesting start to her character. When Caesar meets her, she will be tweaking. That's so clever how they hid that. The thing was so big the whole time you thought it was an actual room or a tent. And only now are they showing the shakiness on camera of it actually being elevated and moving. But then also maybe this is just the first time it's being elevated and moved, and I'm unnecessarily looking into details that aren't even there.
Touch her, you die.
I'm not stupid. Just saying she wants me.
I hope Titus Pullo gets to fuck Cleopatra. That baby would be an adorable psychopath. Oh, here we go. Cold sweats are beginning.
Caesar will think himself on Olympus with Aphrodite. Piglet!
Yeah, I know, she really did pick a strange time to kick a horrible habit. I mean, I'm all for it, but yeah, she is going to be in a strange mood.
I have him, or I die. So I will have him.
That's crazy. That's the way she's viewing the situation in her head. Again, is that historically accurate? Did she genuinely believe if at the time she didn't seduce Caesar and get his support that she would be killed by her brother?
My womb is between the flood. A child would come as sure as spring.
And I guess that would cement her safety, and also the heir could potentially rule Rome and Egypt in a perfect world. I think someone told me in real life Caesar and Cleopatra did end up having babies, but the babies were not legitimised by Rome. I don't know if that's true though.
He will do. Majesty commands you will enter her.
I do not.
Cleopatra just wants a Roman baby while she can have one in between her periods.
It's not in our custom. Roman men are not used by women in this way.
In this situation, what do you do as Lucius? Because surely if he says no, it's like a great disrespect to her. You know what? Lucius deserves this. His wife literally fucked another dude and had a kid. Lucius should at least get to fuck Cleopatra. You know how nowadays couple have like a list of celebrities they're allowed to bang if they ever get a chance? Surely in olden times, Cleopatra would be on all the guys' lists.
Pullo, report immediately to Princess Cleopatra and do as she says.
Hey?
You heard.
Now, Titus Pullo is the man for the fucking job. That was such a hilarious edit. Well, if Titus Pullo was not legendary enough already, oh my god. Also, Lucius is going to be so fucking pissed off if he ever finds out about that illegitimate child. He will be like, I turned down Cleopatra for you. I could have had a little Egyptian sun god baby, but no, I was being loyal to my fucking whore wife.
God, that was something.
I don't want to know.
This scene. This entire scene is incredible.
I shall not speak of it.
Can't keep a secret to save your life. You've got a mouth like a drill.
Also, Cleopatra said she was between cycles, so does that mean that the baby she's going to tell Caesar is his will actually belong to Titus Pullo? Is Titus Pullo going to have a sun god baby?
Princess Cleopatra, sir.
Damn, that was a sneaky way to get her to Caesar.
Daughter of the two rams.
Titus Pullo is so tempted to add, and one hell of a lay to that sentence, but he resisted. Oh, you have to respect Cleopatra, she knows how to play the game.
Oh, well done.
What a little prick of a king. Oh, we skipped past the whole her fucking Caesar part. She is here for the throne. That kid's doing a good job of playing a terrified little brother.
Little husband.
Oh, it's a husband!
It was your gelding led you astray, no doubt.
Mistress.
It must not speak.
Yes, it 100% was that dick.
It's him. Not me.
What a coward. Both of these guys need beheaded. And there's two spikes, how convenient. Perfect. Perfect. Beautiful. Now those spikes have feng shui. It looked incredibly lopsided with one head. Now the three heads are there. The trifecta is complete. The spike display is perfect. We didn't see what happened to her husband. Did he get killed as well?
A man without sons is a man without a future.
I never thought of it that way.
She's incredibly manipulative so far.
Why save me so heroically from death, if not to use me as your puppet queen?
She is one step ahead of the game in this conversation. She has a bit of a step up from Sevilla, to be fair. Depends what you prefer, do you know what I mean? Witches or crackheads. This is like the Egyptian version of Debbie Does Dallas. Cleopatra lays the legion. Again, with the Sevilla stuff, so far it's just been a normal relationship between the two of them, and it really makes me wonder what her long-term game plan is with it. Just to be able to say to Atia, I'm fucking your daughter loves me? So this is the city now attacking the palace. Seemed like they were just throwing a few rocks. It's not really the terrifying force that guy with a black judge's wig made it out to be.
I write very bad poetry through the night, and in the morning I give it to the cook to stoke the kitchen fire. It's a form of magic.
I bet you write bad poetry, you little shit. I'd love to read Brutus's shit poetry just to give him shit for it, because he's such a little shit. He doesn't deserve to be welcomed back into the Senate.
If Caesar does not return from Egypt.
Oh, Caesar has escaped tighter traps than this.
And neither does this two-faced prick.
With Caesar dead, that bastard Mark Antony will be unleashed to do as he wants.
This guy refuses to learn from his own mistakes. He is literally just doing the exact same shit he basically did in episode 1 and 2, which led him to having to surrender to Caesar. Literally moments afterwards, his first conversation back in the Senate is once again conspiring toward the future.
I was just now thinking of you. That I've received some happy news and...
I hope Mark Antony overheard that whole thing.
I'm a merciful man. Not everyone's entitled to a few mistakes.
He's given them a very polite talking to right now.
We are all of us imperfect in our way.
Exactly.
I don't think Cicero gets what he is saying to him right now.
I don't know what you mean.
Nothing escapes me.
100%. I don't think Cicero understands how smart Mark Antony is.
I will cut off these soft, pink hands.
Mark Antony's such a G. And I don't know why he's underestimated, because to me he hasn't shown himself to be weak or not smart this entire show, so I don't know why this dick thought that he was smart and cunning and Mark Antony wouldn't understand.
Caesar has lifted the siege and massacred the armies of Ptolemy. The man is a damn prodigy.
What a beautiful punchline to that scene, just after they were thinking the Egyptians might be the ones to kill Caesar. Nope, Caesar rules Egypt as well. Fuck you, you little conspirators. You have no power. And they now have a baby. Is this Titus Pullo's baby? Because there's a reason they just showed a close-up of Titus Pullo's face, then cut back to the child. And again, that look from Lucius is like, is that your kid? And Titus Pullo sort of looking back like, I think it might be, you know. Okay, and that was episode 8 of season 1 of Rome Caesarian, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Caesarian, what did I think of that? I'm smiling because this is the first time I'm registering that this is, once again, an episode which I enjoyed so much. This first season is so fucking banging. I swear to God, I really hope season 2 is as good as season 1. Please tell me in the comments if season 2 is as good as season 1. I hope it is, because I've just been having such a fun time watching all this shit. This episode starts setting up the conflict in Egypt between Cleopatra and her young husband. The young husband currently has the throne and Cleopatra's whereabouts are unknown. Caesar arrives, realizes he can capitalize from this potential civil war and gain control of the grain. And at first he wants to avoid civil war, but then I think he realizes that if he gets Cleopatra on his side, he can essentially control the whole of Egypt and use her as his proxy, basically. So then we meet Cleopatra, and what a crazy firecracker portrayal of Cleopatra that was. Started with her being addicted to the opium pipe and just being a bit of a crazy woman in the back of her little carryable tent. Then straight away, she shows her like determination and will, because the second one of her servants mentions that she needs to kick the pipe, she's like, throw it away, I'll do it right now. Caesar leaves to go and meet her, so the elders surrounding the young king decide that they need to send assassins first and kill her before Caesar can strike up an allegiance with her. But Caesar has sent Titus and Lucius to stake out the route to make sure that that doesn't happen, so they trail the horsemen, and just as the assassins arrive at Cleopatra's location and they're about to kill her, Lucius and Titus take them all out. Then, the most hilarious scene in this show so far, gotta be one of the top ones in every show I've watched, to be honest, was the next scene when Cleopatra ordered Lucius to have intercourse with her and give her a child. Lucius tried for a second, but then the chivalrous motherfucker said no to Cleopatra and turned her down, which was hilarious enough. But then the fact that he marched out of the tent and he said to Titus, like, go in there and do whatever Cleopatra says, and of course Titus Pullo marched right in there, just makes Titus even more of a legend. And that scene was just hilarious from start to finish. Pure comedy, a great way to introduce Cleopatra and also keep Titus and Lucius in the mix, just continuing to do epic thing after epic thing. As if these characters hadn't done enough epic shit, now Titus Pullo might literally have just had a sun god child with the Queen of Egypt. So then Caesar shows up, Cleopatra quickly seduces him, and she showed how knowledgeable she was as well by saying to Caesar, look, I know why you're here, you want to control Egypt, you need a dummy wife to act as the queen over here while you secretly rule things, and he was kind of impressed with her honesty, and of course she was getting something in return. It's almost like a guaranteed protection, and he would help her get the throne if he was to side with her. So it was a beneficial partnership, and that led to them marching back, killing the old man snakes who were surrounding the boy king, putting their heads on spikes, and then killing the boy king, and Cleopatra got her throne. Caesar and Cleopatra got together, everything was rosy, and at the very end of the episode they held up their child, or maybe not child. Could it be Titus Pullo's child? I don't think they'll even go deep into that storyline. My prediction is they don't. I think it's more of a funny thing, if anything, that Caesar's first child with Cleopatra might actually belong to Titus Pullo and not him. But maybe it is something they turn into a big story arc, but I think it would be just as good if they just left it like that and just made it incredibly ambiguous, with every now and again just Titus Pullo giving a shifty eye look whenever Caesar mentions his son or something. I end each episode with a smile generally, which is such a great feeling to have after watching a show, and on top of that, it's not even like a comedy. I'm smiling because of its quality. This shit is rare and it should be enjoyed when you get it. Needless to say, I'm kinda looking forward to next week's one. If you've liked this reaction, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.